The red dust of Mars swirled against the reinforced windows of Research Station Omega, casting an ethereal glow across Commander Tristan Blake's tired face. After 6 months stationed at humanity's most advanced Martian outpost, he had grown accustomed to the planet's endless russet landscapes. But nothing in his 15 years of space exploration could have prepared him for what this day would bring. "Commander, we're picking up an anomalous energy signature in Sector 7. Lieutenant Raina Patel's voice crackled through the comm system. Her usually steady tone carried an edge of excitement that immediately caught Tristan's attention. Tristan straightened in his chair, pulling out the sensor readings on his holographic display. The energy signature pulsed with an otherworldly rhythm, unlike anything in their database. "How long has it been active?" "Just appeared 3 minutes ago, sir. It's not matching any known human technology patterns." The implications hung heavy in the air. After centuries of searching the cosmos, humanity had yet to make confirmed contact with intelligent alien life. Every unusual reading, every unexplained phenomenon had eventually found its terrestrial explanation. But this was different. Pret the rover. I'm leading this investigation personally. Tristan was already moving, his heart pounding with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. Within minutes, he was suited up and boarding the advanced exploration vehicle with a small team. The Martian landscape stretched before them, a canvas of red and orange hues painted by millennia of dust storms. As they approached the coordinates, the energy readings grew stronger, and then they saw it. A gleaming vessel, its silver-purple hull reflecting the pale Martian sunlight. It was clearly damaged, with a long gash along one side that exposed its mysterious inner workings. "Command, are you seeing this?" Tristan's voice was barely above a whisper as their cameras transmitted real-time footage back to the station. "Affirmative, Commander. Proceed with extreme caution." As they drew closer, movement caught Tristan's eye. A figure emerged from the wreckage, stumbling slightly. Tall and graceful despite obvious injury, the being was undeniably feminine in appearance. Her skin shimmered with an opalescent quality, shifting between deep purples and blues, while her hair seemed to float as if suspended in water, despite Mars' thin atmosphere. Their eyes met across the distance, his through his helmet visor, hers large and silver-flecked like starlight. She raised a hand in what appeared to be a peaceful gesture, then collapsed. Without hesitation, Tristan rushed forward, his training warring with his instincts. As he reached her, he noticed the wound in her side, leaking a luminescent fluid that might have been blood. Her features were hauntingly beautiful, almost human, yet distinctly alien, with subtle ridges along her temples and cheekbones that caught the light like mother of pearl. "I need immediate medical evacuation," he commanded into his comm. "We have a survivor." The alien's eyes fluttered open, focusing on him with surprising clarity. When she spoke, her voice seemed to bypass his ears entirely, resonating directly in his mind. "I am Vera," she communicated. "My ship. We were attacked. I had no choice but to flee." Tristan found himself responding aloud, though somehow knew she would understand. "I'm Commander Tristan Blake. You're safe now." As the medical team approached, Vera's hand gripped his arm with surprising strength. "Please," her mental voice carried undertones of fear and desperation. "They cannot find me. The fate of 2 worlds depends on it." Before Tristan could ask who they were, Vera's consciousness faded. As they loaded her onto the transport, he noticed something strange. Where her luminescent blood had dripped onto his suit, it seemed to be creating microscopic patterns, almost like it was trying to communicate. Back at the station, as the medical team worked to stabilize their unprecedented patient, Tristan faced the most difficult decision of his career. Protocol demanded immediate reporting of any alien contact to Earth authorities. But Vera's warning echoed in his mind, and something in her desperate pleas struck a chord deep within him. For the first time in his decorated career, Commander Tristan Blake chose to wait before making his report. As he watched the medical team work, he didn't realize that this decision would not only change his life, but potentially alter the course of human history. In the medical bay, Vera's vital signs began to stabilize, but the readings were like nothing they'd ever seen. Her cellular structure seemed to be constantly shifting, adapting to the environment around her. Dr. Kira Yoshida, the station's lead physician, emerged from the isolation unit with a bewildered expression. "Commander," she said, her voice tight with controlled excitement, "you need to see this." Her biological makeup, it's incredible. She appears to have some sort of adaptive genetic structure. It's actively evolving to survive in our environment. Tristan followed her to the observation window, watching as Vera's skin subtly shifted colors in her unconscious state. Will she survive? I believe so. But, Commander, that's not all. Dr. Yoshida pulled up a holographic display of Vera's scan results. Her genetic structure shows signs of compatibility with human DNA. It's as if her species was somehow engineered to be able to interact with human biology. This goes against everything we know about convergent evolution. The implications of this discovery sent Tristan's mind reeling. As he watched Vera's peaceful form through the window, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something much bigger than any of them could imagine. "Keep this quiet for now," he ordered. "Minimal personnel access. I need time to think about our next move." As the Martian night fell and the station's lights dimmed to their evening cycle, Tristan found himself unable to leave the medical bay's observation area. He watched as Vera's color patterns shifted like aurora borealis across her skin, telling stories he couldn't yet understand. Tomorrow, he would have to make decisions that would affect not just his career, but potentially the future of human-alien relations. For now, though, he simply watched and wondered about the mysteries that lay ahead, unaware that fate had chosen him for a role far greater than he could imagine. Keeping an alien refugee hidden on Earth proved more challenging than Commander Tristan Blake had anticipated. The secure facility beneath the Rocky Mountains hummed with advanced technology, much of it hastily modified to accommodate their unique guest. 3 weeks had passed since their clandestine return from Mars, made possible only by Dr. Yoshida's ingenious plan to disguise Vera's life signs during transport. The morning light filtered through artificial windows that mimicked the surface world above. Tristan found Vera in what had become her favorite spot, the facility's hydroponics garden. Her opalescent skin reflected the grow lights, creating dancing patterns on the leaves around her. She stood with her eyes closed, communing with the plants in a way he couldn't understand, but had grown to accept as normal. "The earth plants speak differently than those of my world," her thoughts touched his mind gently. Over the weeks, they'd discovered that her telepathic abilities extended only to him, a mystery that Dr. Yoshida was still trying to unravel. But they are wise in their own way. Tristan approached, noting how she no longer stiffened at the sound of human footsteps. "I hope they're better company than our security protocols." The daily medical scans and security measures were necessary, but hardly welcoming. Vera turned to face him, her silver-flecked eyes catching the light. "Your protection is appreciated, Tristan. More than you know." She had dropped his title weeks ago, and he found he preferred it that way. "Though I sense your superiors grow increasingly curious about your delayed return to Mars." She wasn't wrong. General Harrison had been sending increasingly pointed messages about the sudden mechanical issues that kept Tristan's team earthbound. The skeleton crew they'd left at Research Station Omega couldn't maintain the chariot forever. "Let me worry about the bureaucracy," he said, though his concern must have leaked through their strange mental connection. Vera's expression shifted, her skin rippling with colors that he'd learned to associate with anxiety. "There's something I must tell you." She moved closer, her movement as fluid as ever. "The medical examination yesterday, Dr. Yoshida discovered something unexpected." Before she could continue, an alarm blared through the facility. Red lights pulsed along the corridors, and Tristan's comm unit crackled to life. "Commander," Lieutenant Petal's voice was tight with urgency. "We have a situation. Government vehicles approaching from all directions. They're not responding to security challenges." Tristan's military training took over. Lockdown protocols. Now. How long? 10 minutes, maybe less. He turned to Vera, whose skin had paled to an almost translucent state. "Whatever you needed to tell me will have to wait. We need to move." The facility erupted into controlled chaos. Personnel rushed to secure sensitive equipment and data as Tristan led Vera through emergency corridors he'd hoped they'd never need. Dr. Yoshida met them at a reinforced door, her arms full of medical supplies. "Commander," she said, handing him a data crystal, "all of Vera's medical data, including this morning's results. You need to know." The facility shook with the force of what could only be explosives breaching the upper levels. "Tell me later," Tristan said, ushering them through the door. "Stick to the evacuation plan." But as they reached the secondary security checkpoint, Vera suddenly doubled over, her skin flashing with painful bursts of light. Dr. Yoshida rushed to her side, medical scanner already humming. "It's accelerating," the doctor muttered, more to herself than them. The pregnancy wasn't supposed to progress this quickly. Tristan's world stopped. "The what?" Vera's eyes met his, swirling with emotions he couldn't name. "This is what I needed to tell you. I'm carrying a child. Our child." The implications hit him like a physical blow. The compatible DNA structures, the unique telepathic connection, her body's adaptive capabilities. It all suddenly made terrible, wonderful sense. "That's impossible," he whispered, even as he knew it wasn't. They'd never. But then he remembered her luminescent blood on his suit that first day on Mars, the microscopic patterns it had formed. Understanding dawned. "Your species reproduces through genetic resonance, doesn't it? Not physical contact." Another explosion rocked the facility, closer this time. Dr. Yoshida's scanner beeped urgently. "The child's genetic structure is stabilizing. A perfect hybrid. This is unprecedented." Tristan made a decision. Change of plans. "We're not running." He helped Vera to her feet, noting how she instinctively pressed closer to him. "If we run, we'll always be running. This child, our child, deserves better than that." He activated his emergency beacon, the one that would summon his most trusted allies from his years of military service. "We're going to stay and fight, not with weapons, but with truth. Humanity needs to know about this the right way, not as some government secret." Vera's skin rippled with colors he'd never seen before. Fear mixed with hope, anxiety with determination. "The ones who attacked my ship, they'll come when they detect the child's energy signature. Then we'll be ready." Tristan placed a hand on her shoulder, feeling the subtle vibration of her alien biology beneath his palm. "Your people, my people. This child is proof we're not as different as we might think. That's worth fighting for." Dr. Yoshida's scanner chirped again. "The child's development is unlike anything in human or Vera's medical records. It's as if it's adapting moment by moment, creating its own unique biological framework." Heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor. The facility had been breached. But before anyone could panic, Tristan's comm unit crackled with a familiar voice. "Commander Blake, this is Admiral Chen. I've ordered the security teams to stand down. I think it's time we had a talk about your Martian discoveries." Tristan exchanged looks with Vera and Dr. Yoshida. This wasn't how he'd planned to reveal their secret, but perhaps it was better this way. The child growing within Vera represented something unprecedented, a bridge between two species, proof that the universe had more plans for humanity than anyone had imagined. As they walked to meet the Admiral, Vera's thoughts touched his mind once more. "Whatever happens, Tristan, know that our child will be extraordinary. Both our peoples have walked among the stars. Imagine what our little one might achieve." The future was uncertain, filled with challenges they could barely imagine. But as they faced it together, Tristan realized that some discoveries were worth any risk, and some bonds transcended the very boundaries of species and space itself. The facility's main doors opened, revealing Admiral Chen and his entourage. Behind them, the morning sun painted the Rocky Mountains in shades of gold and purple, not unlike the colors shifting across Vera's skin. Whatever came next would change everything. For Earth, for Vera's people, and for the unprecedented child who would belong to both worlds. The Pentagon's most secure medical wing had never seen anything quite like this. Through reinforced observation windows, scientists and military officials watched in amazement as the unborn child's energy signature pulsed with increasing strength, creating patterns of light that danced beneath Vera's translucent skin. Admiral Chen stood beside Tristan, both men watching as Dr. Yoshida conducted her daily examination. "Your child's development is accelerating," the Admiral said, his voice carefully neutral. "The Joint Chiefs are concerned." "They're always concerned," Tristan replied, keeping his eyes on Vera. 2 months had passed since their confrontation in the Rocky Mountains facility, and while they weren't exactly prisoners, their movements were strictly monitored. What they should be is amazed. The Admiral's response was cut short by a sudden burst of light from the medical bay. Vera's skin had erupted in brilliant patterns, and the medical equipment around her sparked with unexpected energy. Dr. Yoshida's voice came through the intercom, tight with excitement. "Commander, you need to see this. The fetus is demonstrating remarkable abilities." Inside the medical bay, holographic displays showed real-time images of the developing child. Its genetic structure was unlike anything ever recorded, a perfect fusion of human and alien DNA, constantly evolving and adapting. The child appears to be generating its own quantum field, Dr. Yoshida explained, pointing to the swirling energy patterns. "It's similar to Vera's natural abilities, but magnified exponentially." Vera's mental voice touched Tristan's mind, warm with maternal pride. "Our people's abilities typically manifest at adolescence, but this little one, they're already so strong." Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Security feeds showed chaos erupting at the perimeter, a coordinated attack from multiple directions. But these weren't government forces or common terrorists. Energy signatures matched the hostile craft from Mars, Lieutenant Patel reported through the comm system. "They found us." Tristan's military training kicked in. Evacuation Protocol Alpha. Now. He turned to Vera, who was already rising from the examination table, her movements graceful despite her advancing pregnancy. "We need to move." "No," Vera's voice was firm, both in his mind and aloud for others to hear. "I'm tired of running." Her skin rippled with determined colors. "These are the Shadari, genetic purists from my world. They believe interspecies breeding is an abomination. They've hunted down others like me before, but this ends here." Admiral Chen was already barking orders into his comm unit, mobilizing defenses. But everyone in the room froze when Vera's body began to glow with unprecedented intensity. The child within her responded, their combined energy creating a visible field that filled the medical bay. "Our child is not just a hybrid," she explained, her mental voice thick with emotion. "They are the fulfillment of an ancient prophecy. My people were not just compatible with humans by chance. We were engineered to be so, millennia ago, by creators who knew this day would come." Through their mental connection, Tristan suddenly saw flashes of Vera's world, vast cities of crystal and light, ancient archives speaking of a time when multiple species were meant to unite, and the Shadari's violent opposition to this destiny. The facility shook with the force of the attacking ships. But within the medical bay, something extraordinary was happening. The quantum field generated by mother and child was expanding, interfacing with Earth's technology in ways that defied explanation. Dr. Yoshida's instruments were recording everything. The child's energy signature is rewriting local quantum states. It's as if they're creating a bridge between our different technologies, our different ways of existing. Through the observation windows, they watched as Shadari forces breached the outer defenses. Their armor was reminiscent of Vera's crashed ship, all organic curves and iridescent metal. But where her technology felt harmonious, theirs radiated aggression. "You don't understand what you're protecting," the Shadari commander's voice boomed through the facility's speakers. "That abomination will destroy the purity of both our species." Vera's response was to raise her hands, channeling the combined energy field. Every piece of technology in the facility responded, human and alien systems alike synchronizing in a way that should have been impossible. "No," she declared, her voice echoing both audibly and mentally. "Our child will bridge worlds that should never have been separated. The creators saw this day coming. Why else would our species be so perfectly compatible?" The Shadari forces pushed forward, but as they did, something remarkable happened. The hybrid energy field began affecting their weapons, converting their aggressive energy into something harmonious. One by one, their weapons failed, transformed by the very power they sought to destroy. Tristan moved to Vera's side, placing his hand over her swollen abdomen. The moment he did, the energy field intensified, and he understood. This child wasn't just a hybrid. It was a key, unlocking potential that both species had carried within them for millennia. Through their connection, Vera shared the full truth. The creators seeded both our worlds, knowing that only together could we achieve our full potential. The Shadari fear this, because it means the end of their perceived superiority. Admiral Chen watched in amazement as the hybrid energy field continued to transform the facility's technology. "This goes beyond national security," he muttered. "This is about humanity's future." The Shadari commander's voice came again, but this time it was tinged with something like fear. "You don't know what forces you're unleashing." "No," Tristan replied, standing proudly beside Vera. "But we're ready to find out. Together." As if in response to his words, the child's energy signature pulsed stronger than ever, creating a sustained harmony between all technologies present, human, Veran, and Shadari alike. It was proof of what Vera had said. They were all meant to work together, to evolve together. The Shadari forces began to retreat, their weapons and technology forever altered by contact with the hybrid field. But this was just the beginning. The child growing within Vera wasn't just a diplomatic incident or a scientific curiosity. It was the first step toward a future that the creators had envisioned ages ago. Dr. Yoshida's instruments continued recording as the energy field stabilized, documenting the dawn of a new era in human and alien relations. The child had demonstrated its power, not for destruction, but for harmony, bringing together technologies and species in ways previously thought impossible. And through it all, Tristan and Vera stood together, their unique bond now understood as part of something far greater than themselves. Their child would be born into a world forever changed, but perhaps that had been the plan all along. The night sky above Washington, D.C. erupted in brilliant colors as the Veran diplomatic fleet emerged from hyperspace. Their arrival, though expected, still took humanity's breath away. Massive ships of crystalline design descended through the atmosphere, their hulls shimmering with the same opalescent quality as Vera's skin. In the White House's newly constructed interstellar reception chamber, Tristan stood beside Vera, whose pregnancy had progressed to its final stages. The child's energy signature had grown so strong that special dampening fields were required to prevent technological interference. High Counselor Lyra, Vera's mother and leader of the Veran Science Council, stepped forward from the delegation. Unlike the Shadari, the mainstream Veran society had embraced the prophecy of convergence. Her skin shimmered with joy as she approached her daughter. "The Creator's wisdom is vindicated," she announced, her telepathic voice reaching all present Verans, and through Vera, Tristan as well. "Our worlds were always meant to unite." But not everyone shared her optimism. Outside, protesters from both species gathered. Some humans feared alien influence. Some Verans feared dilution of their heritage. The future balanced on a knife's edge. Dr. Yoshida's latest tests had revealed something extraordinary. The child's unique genetic structure was already influencing both species on a quantum level, subtly enhancing human intuition and stabilizing Veran energy patterns. Evolution itself was accelerating. The birth, when it came, transformed everything. The child, a daughter they named Aurora, came into the world in a burst of light that temporarily connected every human and Veran mind on Earth. For one brief moment, two species understood each other completely. She had her father's determined brown eyes and her mother's opalescent skin, but she was something entirely new. When she cried, distant stars pulsed in sympathy. When she laughed, technology around her evolved spontaneously. "She's beautiful," Tristan whispered, holding his daughter for the first time. Aurora's skin rippled with colors that reflected both her heritages, and her eyes held wisdom impossible for a newborn. Vera, exhausted but radiant, shared a profound truth through their connection. "She's what both our species have been waiting for. Not just our daughter, but a bridge between worlds." The Shadari threat diminished as more hybrid children were born across both worlds. Each new child brought new gifts. Some could interface directly with technology, others could heal with a touch, still others could see possible futures. 5 years later, Tristan and Vera stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, the first joint human-Veran space installation. Below them, Earth gleamed like a jewel, while Mars, now home to the first hybrid city, glowed red in the distance. Aurora, now a precocious 5-year-old, played with her human and Veran friends, their combined abilities creating beautiful light patterns in the air. "The Creators knew," Vera said softly, her hand intertwined with Tristan's. "They knew that only together could we reach our true potential." Tristan watched as Aurora demonstrated her latest discovery, the ability to visualize quantum possibilities. Around her, human and Veran scientists worked together, using technology that had evolved beyond either species' original capabilities. "We thought we were just two people who fell in love," he replied, But we were part of something much bigger. And much more beautiful, Vera added, her skin shimmering with joy as Aurora ran to embrace them both. Above them, the stars seemed to pulse with new possibility. Humanity had not only made first contact, they had found their destined partners in the journey toward cosmic enlightenment. And it had all started with an unexpected crash landing on Mars, proving that love truly could transcend the boundaries of species, space, and reality itself. The future stretched before them, infinite with potential. Other species were reaching out now, drawn by the success of human-Veran integration. Aurora and her generation would lead humanity and Verans into that future, armed with abilities that their parents could barely comprehend. But for Tristan and Vera, watching their daughter grow amid the stars, it all came down to a simple truth. Love, in any form, had the power to transform worlds. Their story would be told for generations across multiple worlds, not just as a romance, but as the moment when the universe itself took a step toward its ultimate destiny. "Ready for another adventure?" Tristan asked, as reports came in of new discoveries in distant star systems. Vera's response flowed through their mental link, warm with affection and excitement. "With you, always." Aurora looked up at her parents, her eyes twinkling with starlight. "Can I help this time?" They embraced their daughter, their family a living symbol of unity between worlds. Above them, the cosmos stretched endlessly, full of new possibilities waiting to be discovered by this new generation of star children. The end.